Hi there, thanks for dropping by. Today we're going to take one of the QuietFire Monogram fonts and we're going to color it by coloring different sections of the compound path. Okay, now don't get excited. It's not that hard and I'll take you through it step by step. Often I'll give you an underlay with a monogram font, but I thought these thin lines were so pretty that I would just leave it without an underlay. But if you want to add some color, here's a way we can do it. So let's have a look. So first we're going to open up Silhouette Studio, and I've chosen to do this in the basic edition, so nobody should have a problem with it. We're going to set up our workspace. So what we're going to do is just leave the basic Cameo cutting mat the same as usual and go over to the media size and choose letter. And when we're there, we're going to go over to the registration marks and we're going to turn those on. And then we're set to go because we're going to do this as a print and cut file. Okay, we're ready to go. So we're going to type in the letter that we want. So we're going to go over to the left and choose the letters, and we're going to type in, for me, it's an M. And then I'm going to highlight that M. And then I'm going to go up to the top, and I know what font I want to use, and it's QFD Rose. So that's what I'm going to type in. And it's going to come up, QFD Rose Monogram. And then I'm going to hit enter. And there it is. So we're going to enlarge this so we can see what we're doing. And it doesn't matter whether we go outside the mat. So if you want to enlarge this from the center out, hold Alt while you're pulling on the corner. And I'm going to make it even bigger so we can see what we're doing. I could even move it over there so I could see easier, but let's leave it here. First thing we want to do is right click and go down to ungroup. It's magic. It makes it, I don't know what it's ungrouping, but it's magic. And then we'll right click on these lines again, and we'll go to Release Compound Path. And voila, all of a sudden, our design breaks apart into all the little bits and pieces. And that allows us to color each one individually. Now, this does not work with all the QuietFire fonts, but it works well with this one. Oh, and by the way, if you start moving things around, this is going to happen, and you don't want that to happen. So just be careful where you click and move. You can always use Control or Command Z to back up. Okay, you can see the M in there, but we want to add some color to this whole thing. So we're going to whip over to the right-hand side and we're going to choose the palette. Now, I think we're going to start with the leaves, just to give you an idea of what we're doing. And rather than putting in a solid fill like this, what we're going to do is click on this little part of the leaf, and then we're going to go way over to the right, up to the palette, and we're going to choose the gradient fill. And we're going to look for a nice green. Okay, let's try this one. Yeah, that's a little bright for me. Let's go, oh yeah, this is more an olive. That's my color. Choose another space and you'll see the box around it, and then you can go up and click on that graded fill and it will fill the space. Now if you hold down Shift, you can click on a number of different shapes that make up the leaves, and then you can fill them all at once. It just saves a little bit of time. When the little box around the shape kind of disappears, it means I haven't clicked on the red line around the shape. I need to include that red line for the shape to be chosen and filled. There we go. Now we have all the leaves done. Now let's look at the petals. Let's choose this bottom petal and fill it with a pink. Which pink will we choose? How about a darker color because it's at the bottom? So let's pick this one. Oh, that's nice and rich. Okay, let's do the ones close to that in the same gradient fill. So again, we can shift click to choose more than one shape at a time. And we can work our way up the rows, picking petals. The gradient fill gives more depth to the image. It's really pretty. Let's do this one with the dark pink. Now, as we work our way up the rows, let's lighten that gradient fill to a paler pink. Oh, that's pretty. Let's keep going and fill the rest of the petals. So I thought I'd fill these top petals with the darker pink, or I could try this other one. No, that's a bit too red. So it's up to you what you decide to fill your rose with. Well, now it's time to fill that M. What are we going to fill it with? We could do a solid color, or we could use the same green gradient we used for the leaves. And I think that looks awesome. How about you? Now, one thing I am going to do is I'm going to go back to these darker pink petals, and I am going to turn them back into the pale pink. But again, it's up to you what you decide to do with it. Now, I think this project is done for coloring. Now we need to cut it out. So our next step is to get this ready to cut and print. So it's just way too big the way it is. So you don't want to grab just one bit and pull it out, or you'll have a little crisis happening there. So what you want to do is take your arrow and put it off to the side, and then draw a big box that takes in all those pieces. And then click Control and click G, and that will group everything back together so that if you pull on something, it will all stay together. Nice. Now you can resize your image and turn it so that it's still large, but it fits on the cutting mat. Resize your image so you're comfortable with the size and that you know it's going to print and it's not within that grid area, because that won't print or cut. So I'm just going to make it a bit smaller and move it up a bit. And move it to the middle, and that looks good to me. And then you can click Print, and you get the print preview. And then go over here and hit Print. And it will give you your printing options. So I'm going to grab that and print. And away it goes. Now, once your project is printed, simply put it on the cutting mat with that black square up in the left-hand corner. Now let's go back to the Silhouette Studio software because it's time to cut. So we're going to go to Send, and oh look, the red cutting line shows up right around the outside. Now sometimes this doesn't happen, but in the basic edition, this worked just perfectly. So I'm using plain white cardstock. So all as I will do is click to send it to the machine, and away it goes. Alrighty, now comes the big reveal. So my favorite way of doing this is to put the release sheet down and then flip my cutting mat over and peel the excess paper off this way. Ooh, look. Oh, little issue there. Okay, let's flip it over and finesse this. There. Okay, now we just have to get the artwork off the cutting mat. Oh, there's a little indiscretion there. Never mind, we'll get that. And carefully peel the project off the cutting mat. Oops, we're going to have a little problem with this one. But that's okay, because we're going to adhere the whole project down onto another sheet. There we go. Oh, look at that sticky little leaf. It wants to stick on me. Oh, be careful with that. Those are really thin. We could fix that, but that's for another class. And there, that's what it's going to look like. So we could mount this on some white cardstock as a background, or we could mount it on colored cardstock. We'll carefully glue on that leaf that's kind of trying to get away from us. We could put it in a frame, or we could put it on a card front, or we can put it in a scrapbook. Try playing with different colored gradient fills, and also you can play around with the gradients, so you can rotate the gradients and you can make some really interesting effects. So have some fun. I hope you've learned something new. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Happy creating!